Hi, everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel. And I'm Karen Willock. I'm the director of the family program for Treehouse Recovery. And we're going to talk today about symptoms of codependency and how to recognize it. Again, why is this important to know my symptoms? And it's just like when you have a cold and it goes into pneumonia and you go to the doctor and he diagnoses you and then you take the medication. Recovery from codependency is very much the same. If I don't think I have a problem, why would I treat it? And it's the same with drug addiction and alcoholism. If I don't think I have a problem and it's not interfering with anything and I don't know what the symptoms of it are, why would I treat it? So in order for me to want to change something, I have to first identify it. So today we're going to go over some signs of codependency. So let's take a look at some key symptoms. So you just mark the ones that you recognize in yourself. There's no right answers, right? This is not about showing that there's something bad or wrong about you. Anybody who's been living with active addiction has been surviving one of the most painful experiences human beings ever survive. Watching a loved one that you care about, a son, daughter, husband, wife, mother, father, destroys a person internally watching that. So we develop patterns of behaviors and ways to navigate it that don't help us thrive, but they do help us survive until we know differently. We want to thank those parts of us that discovered ways to survive the unsurvivable. Try to be honest with yourself. I remember having a diary one time that I was lying in the diary, writing to myself. Nobody else was going to see it, and I wasn't telling the truth. Now, that's an odd situation, but that's the level of avoidance and dishonesty it took to keep away from that reality, whatever that was at that moment. So here we go. Let's take a look at these. Protecting them from the consequences of their actions. Every mother and father, husband, wife, brother, sister has done this one. We've called, made excuses, fixed it for them, paid for something, craziness. Overextension in work or outside activities. So we overextend. We do more than we're capable of doing. We exhaust ourselves. We don't know how to say no. Caretaking. Enabling. On another video on our channel, we've talked about enabling and detaching and what's the difference and how to do that. But when I'm doing for someone else what they can do for themselves, I have moved into a caretaking role. That's not a caregiving role, okay? Because it's associated with my concern with image. It's image management. I don't want someone to think bad of me. Or it comes from a belief of thinking they don't know how to take care of themselves. And when we're dealing with addiction, it doesn't look like they do. But stepping in is not a good plan. Concealing behaviors, yours and theirs. So here comes that lying again, where we refuse to look at the truth. We don't talk about what's really happening. We don't call it. We don't say what it is. We diminish it. We excuse it. He wouldn't do that if he wasn't this. So we start concealing their behaviors and ours. Feelings of self-doubt or fear. That's such an understatement for us. For myself, it was actual dread, constant dread that something horrible was going to happen very soon. And that hysteria, a term I like to use with hysteria is when you have hysteria, it's usually historical. So I've experienced this situation before and literally feel hysteria. That's because this has got some history for me, maybe all the way back to childhood, who knows. Trying to control them and feeling unable to trust them. And how true is that? We're not able to tell when they're telling the truth. We believe the most unbelievable stuff. It's really terrifying. And the control. Control is my crack pipe as a codependent. It is what, if I think I can control someone or something or some event, If I can tell them what to do, I get relief. Remember? Watch for that relief that comes when we do that. Trouble or inability communicating your feelings to them. You don't really tell them how they're affecting you. You don't tell them that you're afraid. You don't even say when you're angry, or you experience being used or lied to again. We don't communicate our feelings sometimes even to ourselves. Feeling anger or resentment towards them, again, and not sharing it with anybody. Actually feeling guilty for having that anger or resentment. Seeking approval through helping. Many of us get our validation, our outside validation, by being helpers. The key to this one is learning how to validate ourselves. We're not good at everything, nor should we be. But to be able to be valid with myself first, instead of looking for somebody. And that's usually a historical wound of back in the day of needing validation that as children we're often supposed to have gotten. Sometimes we didn't. Decreased self-esteem because you didn't help. Holy smoke. I call this one toxic guilt. So you should have been able to do something and you didn't. And if you had done it, then whatever happened wouldn't have happened. This is that delusion of control, and then I'm guilty because it didn't work. And this is the bad news. The only thing I have control over is how I think, feel, and behave. I cannot make anybody else do anything. I remember when Joe was about 17, we were sitting at the kitchen table, and I said to him, Joe, if you just do everything I tell you to do, you'll have a happy life. Little did I know he was already using opiates by then. And he said to me, Ma, I'm not going to do everything you say and I'll still have a happy life. And I didn't believe it for a minute, but I learned that that's true. I have no control over another human being. Try to give a 2-year-old a nap. Try to make them take a nap. That's how much control we have. Neglecting other relationships. How many people have you not spent time with? How many people do you see every day and you don't really hear what they're saying because you're so distracted with these thoughts of this person? I've had that happen multiple times, that my focus is on what's going on with them and I'm not even present with the people I'm standing right in front of. Saying you won't tolerate behaviors and then you tolerate them again. Rationalizing behaviors, theirs and yours. I wouldn't have done this if they hadn't have done that. I wouldn't have said this if they hadn't have said that. They're doing this because. Those are all ways to rationalize. Denying there's a problem with you or them. I remember the first time I found a bong hidden in the garage. I really believed when they told me that they weren't going to use it again. Now, think about this. I've worked in the alcohol and drug field, so this will be an antidote to your shame. Here I was working in the alcohol and drug field, probably 20 years by then. Listening, Joe's 37 now and Pete's 34. So I was probably working in the field 12, 15 years by then, and I'm believing what they're telling me. So just know there's no saints. Everybody has to learn as they learn. Decreased ability to function or work. Oh my God, I remember that. This was one of these defining moments for me. One of my kids was deep in his addiction, very, very deep in his addiction. He had overdosed many times. I was terrified that I was going to end up burying him. And over a period of time, and in another video, we're going to talk about burning out from codependency. And during this time, I was burning out. I was getting physically tired, emotionally tired, mentally tired, spiritually tired. I wasn't sleeping well. I had so many symptoms of codependency. And I had driven by a cemetery, and it washed over me. Is that where I'm going to bury him? And that night I was laying in bed and I was thinking about that everything I had tried to stop his addiction, everything I had tried to do to stop that train had failed, and that I had no power to stop his addiction, and that he could die. And I felt this horrific weight come over me. And the next morning, I asked a person in my life, I said, how do you know when you're feeling too much? And they said, when you're not functioning in your life. And I thought, that's where I'm headed, where I can't even do my job without being obsessed over here. My level of energy was so low. So this decreased ability to work or function sounds like a very small sentence, but it was a consuming moment. Overlooking certain behaviors, I did that a lot. Believing that if they changed, all problems would disappear. So like all three of my kids are actually doing really well right now, and all my problems have not disappeared. How disappointing is that? Intense mood swings, oh my gosh, highs and lows. So if they're doing good, you're way up here. If they text you with, oh God, something, you go to the gutter. Up, down, up, down. We're on this emotional roller coaster all the time. Obsessing. Where are they? Are they okay? Who are they with? What are they doing? Are they cold? Are they hungry? Are they alive? Just the obsession. In another video, we're going to take a look at healthy thinking, because we do want to do healthy thinking, but obsession distracts me from what's going on. So it moves me away from something. When I'm obsessed about this over here, and for me, what it was, while I was obsessing and fixing and planning and doing, I was avoiding the absolute terror I was living with. Craving them. Isn't that an interesting one? Because if you think about addiction and the power that it has, so when we don't hear from our person, we don't know where they are, we don't know what they're doing, that intense craving to know is so powerful. So those are 20 of the symptoms of codependency. Take a look at it, see for yourself if you fit any of those. During different YouTubes that we do, we're going to discuss different topics that are associated with these, and we have some already. So please feel free to let us know if you want to hear more about codependency, what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what's helping. We want this to be helpful. If we can be helpful in any way, Treehouse Recovery is available. The family program is available for people who have their loved ones in treatment or have loved ones that are still out there actively using. So I'll look forward to hearing some of your comments and what you discover about yourself.